guys, it's Jimmy Bremner and Dexter the boy, CTOA. We're on the urban trail, and I'm going to call this one a reality check. Okay. I think a lot. Right? And the other day, I had the best thing I do is when I'm out on the trail. And, I don't know, about 4, 5, 6 days ago, it was really warm here in the 416. So I went all the way through the dawn, all the way down to Lake Ontario, and then I hiked back up the trail. This is like about 20-kilometer journey, and a lot of interesting things I had opportunity to observe. So there's a guy in Ohio. I'll try and find the link. His YouTube page is called Waypoint Survival, and he does a great job. And right now he's doing a series on the hobos of the 30s and how they survived and what they did and how they had camps and hobo junctions and things like that. I have to tell you something. On that 20-kilometer journey, I came across at least 7 to 8 hobo junctions. There are people living outside in the freezing cold. It's like the 30s, the Depression all over again. You know what? It's actually hard to believe that this is a, first world nation. So now I'm going to get off that, okay? Because I just have to tell you what I see, okay? And that's what I see. Now, so the reality check. Here's where it comes in. I see all kinds of people online, as you do. Just my opinion, just my humble opinion. It's just what I see. And, they might be doing a review and, the bushcraft. And I do bushcraft because I like it, because I have some relevance there, because I do it, I like it, and that's why I do these videos. With that said, when you get into these terms like bug out bag, get home bag, inch bag, there's a lot of things that people are not taking into account. Okay, so make no mistake about it. I'm a displaced American. Okay, I love the United States. Get a green card. I'll be there tomorrow. Here's the thing: in Canada, you're inundated by American, bushcraft prepper videos and such. But you have to understand something, and I'm saying this, with all due respect to my American friends. Canada is not put together like the United States, all right? Well, what do you mean? I'm talking geographically, all right? Most of Canada is settled along the northern border of the United States. Why? Because it's just so friggin' cold anywhere north of that. People you can't survive, okay? That's the truth. So that's where we're located. Okay, so when you talk about a bug out bag, a get home bag, what have you, and it looks like a military pack, and it's got your pals or your Molly on it, and then you talk about like the situation that puts you into that position where you have to get on, your bug out bag, your get home bag, what have you. Here's the thing. If you take in, I'm talking about southwestern Ontario, okay? Make no mistake about it. From some place that we call Durham, Ontario, to Niagara Falls, okay? It's a huge urban center. Make no mistake about it. You can maneuver through the bush, but get something straight. At some point, you're going to have to break out into an urban center. Okay. Now, if you're talking about a situation that calls for emergency management, and you know, you got to leave your vehicle. You can't even drive in this city as it is. It's like total congestion all the time. So now we put in like a natural disaster, a snowstorm, whatever it might be. You put that in there, okay? Um, you're not moving. Here's the best thing I'm going to suggest to you. If you have a vehicle like a pickup truck, like my Jeeps, as you know, I love my Xterra. I put a bicycle in the back of it because a bicycle is the most likely way that you're going to be able to move in one of those situations. Okay. The other thing people don't talk about, and I've said this before, okay, I'm getting a little exhausted with everything that has to be plugged into a USB charger. It's not going to happen. Have you ever, when you go out, you go to a mall, you go to an airport, have you ever seen how many people are sitting beside a 110 AC outlet with their charger plugged in, trying to charge their phone or their laptop? There's actually lineups that sit on the floor to do it, right? So if your phone is going to last maybe a day if you're lucky. Okay, so where am I going with this? What you need to have is a radio, okay? A shortwave weather station, AM, FM radio. This particular one has a light. It cranks, okay, on a a generator. It cranks on that, a dynamo. Cranks on that, and you can actually charge your phone off that, but you have to have the cable, another thing to lose, and it does take AA batteries to support that. This idea that you're going to have the convenience to plug in a USB charger is nonsensical at best, all right? And guess what? If there's years ago we had a grid, like the power grid went down, right? And we were out for like about 4 days. It was all over the northeastern United States and Canada. And we were down for about 4 or 5 days, right? And guess what? Nothing works, okay? There's nothing to plug your charger into. It's down, we're done, you're out. So if you don't have a generator, diesel generator, or something like that, your ability to, or an inverter from your vehicle, there's no way that you can make power to do anything, all right? So these are very important to have. They're very inexpensive to have. And guess what? You're not going to be getting notifications over your cell phone when one of these, emergency type things occur. It's going to come over the radio, right? Now, that said, you want to be able to communicate, okay? So this is more likely what's going to happen, that you have these little portable radios, again, that take batteries, that don't plug into a charger, that you can communicate with, right? Your cell phone, in one of those situations, you use it sparingly, okay? You turn it off unless you don't need to use it. You use it when it's necessary, because I'm telling you, within 24 hours, that phone is going to be dead. So now let's talk about moving through like an urban area, right? You see me, like I said, because it's fun, you see me in ghillie suits and my greens and my winter whites, and because we're talking, it's a different thing, okay? I'm not talking about moving through southwestern Ontario. Eventually, you're going to have to break out of the bush. So my boonie hat, glasses like this, if you're talking get home bag or whatever, you're putting out a profile. It's like it's like there's a big light on top of your head, all right? So you don't want to do that. I was actually looking for my Carhartt jacket. I'm wearing blue jean denims. Fortunately, when we go into the office today, nowadays, you can get away with it, sort of a dressed down, casual business dress. Um, everyday carry. Here's another funny thing. This is my everyday carry. I carry this Wenger, all right, that has pliers in it and a huge Wenger Swiss Army locking plate. Like I said many times, these are like you don't even need a fixed blade knife. So I carry that. And this is the other thing I carry, all these tactical wallets. I carry a money clip with 2 cards in it and cash. Okay? Always have 100 American on me. If I'm overseas, probably have 1,000 American on me, because it's the only thing that's going to buy your way out of trouble anywhere in the world. That's it. That's how it works. And again, if you have, like I said, if the grid goes down, right, your bank cards aren't going to work. Cash is the only thing that's going to work, or barter at that point. So then you get to you get home, right? It's probably the most realistic thing, right? Because sometimes your car breaks down and you get home and you sort things out at that point, right? This bug out idea, where are you bugging out to? You're taking your family. Everybody in your family has a bug out bag and they're going to go live in the bush. Do you know how hard it is to live in the bush? Have any idea how psychologically hard it is to live in the bush? And then you get to the funniest one, the inch bag. I'm never coming home. That's a pretty big commitment. That's a pretty big commitment, right? It's not likely it's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen in reality when we have a major, meltdown of the grid, the electrical grid, or, a natural disaster, a flood, a tornado, a huge snowstorm. Your family, the neighborhood that you live in, you're all going to get together and you're going to support each other. And this is why it's very important to know your neighbors, okay? And get along, help each other out, have that sense of community, because that's actually what is in reality is going to happen, okay? And in Canada we have a place called Newfoundland, or Newfoundland, as some people might want to call it. And they're the friendliest people in the world. You will never meet a person from Newfoundland that is not the friendliest person, outgoing person that you'd ever want to meet, that will give them their shirt off their back, the shirt off their back, okay? And here's why. If you get a chance to visit there, if you don't know your neighbor, if you don't befriend your neighbor, the distances between homes is so vast. If you don't have your firewood piled up and you don't have a good relationship with your neighbor over the winter, guess what? You're not making it till spring. So it's important to develop those relationships close to you. And if I was going to pick any one of those options in these BAG acronyms, it would be like just to get home, right? Just to get home. Know your public transit. Have whatever transit card for the conveyance that you might need. In the 416 is called a Presto card, and you can travel on that. But you should probably have a map of the conveyances in your local area. When I travel, the first thing I do is I go to a hotel, I get the map of the inner city, and then I get a map of the transit. I find out how you board it, what it costs, how do you go about that, and people will help you out. Again, a cab driver is the best resource ever, and you're you're better off actually to pay them cash than you are to go with the credit card, because you have to pay a percentage on the credit card. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Okay, so you ditch all the shiny stuff when it's time to move into those urban centers. You become a target at that point. So I just wanted to say those things. Eat more bars. These are all things that you need in your pack. I always have an IFAC with me, near me, close to me. It's in the vehicle, it's in my bag. I have all of those things. I have my, the multi-tool in my pocket, but I have a backup in my bag in case the bag gets separated from my pocket. These are the things, and you need water. And this is the most likely water bottle that you're going to come across. And then in the urban environment, I'm sorry to look down. The other environment, you need something called a silt cock, so you can get water out of urban buildings. Other things people don't talk about is hygiene. You need a toothbrush, you need a razor, and you need deodorant when you're in an urban environment and you're trying to get through there and not be stand out or looked upon, okay? These are like really simple things, and as I said, kind of a rant. I apologize for that. But I find all of these things are lacking on these survival, hey, aren't we surviving every day? You have to be in the bush to survive. You got to pay your mortgage, you got to do this, you got to do that. Aren't we surviving every day, regardless of where you live or what you're doing? So it's actually not that hard, but you got to apply some common sense to things. Okay? So put some air in your bicycle tires. It's Jimmy Bremner. Come up here, buddy. Dexter, the bestest boy ever. And C2A Urban Trail, and we're out.